Good day everyone. On today's episode we're going to install the Elite 2X catchcan on my Corvette Z06 and we're going to take out the old one. Now you might want to stay around for future episodes because you know what? I bought this car brand new, pulled the lid off at 441K, documented it, took some video just to show what only 441K would do to the inside of the blower lid. And what I did is I installed this one. I ran it for 500. What I'm going to do today after we install the Elite is I'm not going to drive it, but I'll pull the lid, I'll document it just so we know how much was accumulated with this one at 500. And then I'm going to have the fun part of driving it another 500, and then I'm going to pull the lid and see what we have in the Elite. So let's get going. Let's start this video. So let's see what I got from Elite. So everything was nicely packaged. And it looks like this is going to be... That's going to be the bracket, and it looks to be really good quality. Happy with that. Drain valve. Some one-way valves. Now, I paid for the extra one-way valves. They're definitely not cheap. I'm going to throw up a link if you want to see the difference between these one-way valves and your average ones. By all means, check out that video. It may help you out with your decision. Here we have, I guess, some brackets. They're very lightweight, which is nice. Here's our actual catch can. And it looks really good. Now, it's important to note, I ordered mine without the fittings. Most people are gonna get it with fittings, but I'm gonna make my own. Just wanna see what this sucker looks like inside. And that's what it looks like inside. So multi-chamber, I guess the dirty air will go through there. There's your chamber. It's going to exit through the bottom, and it's got multi-chambers to come up, and it'll be sucked out or exhausted through these two holes. Build quality is it's really nice. Just tighten that back up. There we go. I don't want to scratch it, so we'll leave that there. And then we just have our hardware, and then a few extra. Whoa, that's rolling away. And then a few extra O-rings that I ordered. I wanted for my other catch cans that I have on my vehicles. So anyway, let's get to the vehicle and let's start off. So now we're just going to disconnect the old lines from the catch can. So we're just going to pull it off. That's our feed line, if you want to call it that. This one here is the one that goes to the throttle body, and then the other one there, I'll disconnect. I'll just get my hand in there. There we go, just like so. And we're just gonna undo the one bolt that we have here. And our catch can is out. Now, just so you're aware and you can see, there's the old catch can, and here's the new Elite one. So actually, they're very, very close in size. I mean, it's standing up because it's got this bottom piece on it, but if it didn't, and you look from the top, they're actually very close in size. Now, instead of just putting the quick fittings on this can and installing it all, I want to show you how to lift the blower as well. Obviously, I've done it before because I had to install the previous catch can, so I don't want to leave you high and dry, so I'm going to insert some footage and show you how to lift the blower to install that main suction line. Now, to get the throttle body boot off, there's only two 8mm bolts. You can either use a screwdriver or you can use a socket. I prefer to use a socket just because this way you don't have to worry about scratching anything. And we'll unclip that vacuum hose you can see right there. At the front, here's a shot from the other side. We can just wiggle it out, and then once it pops out, don't forget to undo the connector on the side of the throttle body. Here, give you a little zoom in there. There you go. This part really wasn't that hard. So this is the easy part. And if you're wondering why we have to lift the blower up, I was able to get my camera and get a really good shot. You can see right in and under there. That's the part we have to remove. That's where our, I guess, diverter, if you want to call it, is going to go into there. So that's what we got to remove. So there's no way to get your hands in there without lifting the blower. Okay, so here's the top of the supercharger. There's 20 bolts, and the head bolt size is 8mm on all of them.
Next, we're going to take the serpentine belt off. And on the Z06, there is 2 serpentine belts. I'm going to come in there nice and close. You can see there's one behind. I'll draw a little arrow. That is for your AC unit, and the one in front is for the blower. So if I pan over here, right here, this is a 15 mil bolt. We're just going to twist that or turn that, and we're going to actually be pushing towards a passenger side, and that'll loosen the belt up, and then we'll be able to pull it off the supercharger. Now I'm just going to do the supercharger bolts. There's 5 on each side. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there is a 5th one. You can see it's right in there. So what I've done is I've got my quarter drive on a swivel. So it's an easy one to get to. Bolt on the driver's side is actually quite easy, but on the passenger side here, you can see it is really tight. So I'm gonna actually use a wrench to get in here. So as you can see here, I'm just using my wrench here. This one was actually quite the bugger to get out. It was really, really tight, but it just takes some time, but you can get it out. And you don't actually have to remove the bolt. As long as it's loose, that's all you need. You can see there with my finger, I'm just pushing it up. I'll get you a better angle here. And there you go, we can see it's loose. That's all you need to do, just to make sure you can lift the blower. If we look now, we can see I can actually move the supercharger. It is loose. Okay, so I was able to lift it up. You can see there how much it's actually lifted up. There's the aligning pins. There's the gaskets right there. You can see they're actually these rubber things. I've used some tape here, well, actually I tried the electrical tape first and it wasn't thick enough. So then I'm using this piece of tape there, and then you can see that's what we have to take out. That's the old PCV, if you would, or not PCV, I guess. Well, I guess it is kind of, yeah. And there, I'll throw an arrow up there. That's where it goes up underneath into the supercharger port. So that's what it is. So that's a 14 mil there. Let's put this around here to protect our idler. And this would be the way to take it out, because it's actually just in there hand tight. As you can see, I didn't even have to put a tool on this to turn it or anything like that. I brought a wrench out. I thought I was going to have to wrench it out, but no, didn't have to wrench it out. Let's get you a better view. And there we go. That's a piece, so let's take it to the bench. So here's our PCV valve. We're gonna save it. You can actually, it's got a one-way valve in it. Ordered a new one, or not a new one, but here's a nice fully plating. Let's take off these O-rings, and we're gonna put these O-rings on. So we're just gonna change them over. There we go, and it's in. And then now we can just turn it. So we're just gonna have to start it. And there, it looks like it's in. So let's go get our other piece. Now we're just going to put on our hose. And there you can see there's the hose perfectly installed, and I also put a clamp on the end of it to make sure there's no leaks. There you go. And we want it behind our piece of tape. So what we're going to do is we're just going to, there's a spot down in there. You can see there's where it goes. So as we move the tape out, we're just going to slide our hose up, and then it'll be poking up here. So the supercharger is down. Let's pan in here, and you can see exactly what happened. We're loose here. So there it goes right through there. So it actually does fit through there, not too bad. So that's the way it's got to go. What I did there too is I just put a little bit of wiring loom. You can see it's just there, and it's just to, I guess, try to protect it. So now what we got to do is just grab these things. We'll put them back together. You can see that just goes there. That's just our little vacuum. We're gonna put the belt on, but before we do that, we're just gonna torque down the supercharger.
So before I torque them down, what I'm gonna do is just twist them all in by hand just to make sure that nothing is cross-threaded. And actually when they were coming out, I can feel they were all kind of stiff coming out. They had Loctite on the bolts. And I can feel as I'm spinning them back in by hand, they get stiff again. And that's the Loctite. So I can tell the Loctite is still there. Now what I'm doing now, and what I normally always do, is I just snug them all down by hand. And then what I'll do after that is I'll break out the torque wrench and I'll throw up the torque sequence for you all. Now when you do the torque sequence, you're supposed to do it twice to make sure that they're all evenly tightened down. Okay, so now that this is done, we can get back to installing the Elite can.
Now, from the factory, there's a little ground strap that normally goes there. I just moved mine to there, that's fine. And there's enough movement the wiring harness can go down. You can see a little bit of red paint from my old bracket, just wipe that off. So Elite, they give you two brackets. They give you one that looks like this, and then they give you a longer one that looks like this. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna install this one just like this, back with our factory bolt, and then we'll connect the other one to it.
Okay, so I'm not the happiest camper here with this, and the reason is when they went to package everything, all the bolts are the same thread pitch. They're all Imperial bolts. And this one I notice, if you look, it's a different size. So when I went to undo it, because I was getting ready for the bracket, I was like, why is this loose here and it fits here? So I take the bolt out. So I don't want to make a big deal about this, but basically what happened was one of the bolts was cross-threaded, I guess when they were assembling it just prior to shipping it out to me. So not a big deal. I was able to repair the threads, and then I got a bolt that was slightly longer just to fix it. The other thing I wanted just to let you guys know was the bolts that they provide in the kit are a little bit too small for the brackets. You can see here's the washer, and it just barely fits, so I wasn't comfortable with this. So what I'm doing is just finding new bolts that are slightly bigger with washers.
And there you can see, so this bolt's all tightened up. That's your 13 mil. Those are the new ones I used with the self-locking nut. I didn't tighten it up yet because I want this loose right now just so I can position the can before I tighten it up. All right, so I have a soft install in here, and you can see there's that there. It's all loose. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip this bracket around so it's on the other side because we have more, a lot more area here. It's not gonna touch anything. And here you can see there we have our coolant stuff here. Now, the one thing is I'm not really happy with this the way it is here. I think that we could be moving this a little bit better. I know we have this shock tower here. Sorry if it's a little darker there, but anyway, we have the shock tower there. I think that this thing should come back a little bit more And then with this out of the way, I think it'll be a lot better, because even looking here, it's pretty tight into this part here. I can take this off right now. It was just like that, just for my fitting purposes there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drill a hole right in here. I'm gonna move this over to here. I think it's gonna fit better, and I'm gonna flip this bracket around. Let's see if that works. And there you can see what I've done. I've just drilled a hole right in the center there. And because this here with the flat spot, that's how it has to go. But now, if you look here, I can still move it back and forth this way. So I can still move it like this. But now we're totally clear of any stuff there. I flipped the bracket the other way, so we're clear of any obstructions there. So that's really good. So we shouldn't be touching anything. Everything should be good. So that's one thing I'd say, if you use these parts here, it just pushes the catch can too much forward. So I think drilling it in the middle is good. It allowed me to move it back a bit. There's nothing here, and actually the wiring harness is right here. So there's, it's really easy for me to get my fingers under the bolt, and it's actually a lot easier than over these brake lines here. So this is the way to do it. I think anyway. That would be my way to do it. Anyway, I would actually like if this could be moved back even further, because if you look here, there's still lots of room. But it's not necessary. It's still okay there. So now I'm just going to make the second line. This is the evacuation line. I have my little tool for it, so I can easily press everything together, and it makes it a lot easier for me. Now, if someone needs help building the second line, or they want to sort of try to do something custom, maybe with some special fittings or something like that, I mean, reach out to me, and I'll do my best to help you. I've helped a few guys. You can see I got the one-way check valve in there right now, the Elite check valve, and I got all my gates clamps just to make it look nice and professional. So anyway, everyone's going to do their lines differently, so I don't want to waste a lot of time on this. So now that we have these fittings on, we're just going to put these ones right on top. And once again, these are AN8 fittings. That's what they are. Now I'm just going to cut in here too. If you're thinking with your catch can, because I know those fittings can get really expensive, you can get like brass ones that you can just thread into the top, and then you can either use just like angles, or you can use straight ones. So whatever you want, and they're just easy. They just all pop together just like that. So they're really easy to use. So you can use quick fittings. I recommend them on everything, but just so you know, to save money, these brass ones are a lot cheaper, and then you can just get the plastic fittings that go along with them. Just like that. And I'm just going to take a wrench and just give them a little tighten before I put the third one on. And then we have our last one. Now this one looks a little bit different, and I'm going to explain exactly what I'm doing once I tighten this one up. Okay, so you can see we have all our fittings, and because I used quick connects, it's going to be really easy. But first things first, we have to find the secondary vacuum source. We have a connector right there. So I'm going to use that as my secondary vacuum source. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this off, just like so. I can do that. And then I made up a line, and the line looks just like this. So very similar to my old job, the older catch can that I used. Actually, I reused all of this. The only thing is I just changed this part here, and then I put the Elite one-way valve on it on the end. So this is going to plug in just like so. This part goes right up in here. And now this part here, see if I can do it with one hand. There we go. So that's in nicely, just like that. And now this part right here, we're just going to pull it around, just like so. And we're just going to snap it on. There we go. So that's our secondary line. So now we're going to hook up the line that comes from underneath the blower, and it goes to the center of the catch can. So this we can refer to as the dirty line. So that's going to go in the center. There we go, just like that. And if you're wondering, yes, it is a little bit longer, but I didn't want to trim this hose. And the reason I didn't want to trim this hose is if I go back to the old catch can, I can just plug it in just as easy. So if I trim this, it's going to be too short, and I definitely don't want to be joining this hose because I just think it looks ugly, and I don't want to do that. So now our last hose to hook up is the hose that goes to the throttle body. This is our main vacuum hose. So I did up a hose, and it looks just like this. There you go. So there's just a right angle quick connect. If you're paying a lot of attention here, you can see right in there, I just have my restrictor. I use my restrictor in the hose, and then I have my one-way valve.
and that'll go to the throttle body. So that's how I hook mine up, but if you use the Elite kit, it's not a big deal. The restrictor will just be under the blower. Installation is exactly the same. There is no difference. So we're just gonna tuck this in, just like so. Now we don't wanna lose it. So let's snap this piece on. Get my hand in here. There we go, that's snapped on. And now what we can do is pull this piece up here. There we go, just like this, and we have to get it to the throttle body. So what we're gonna do to get it to the throttle body is we're just gonna disconnect the throttle body, just like so. We're gonna put this adapter in that I got. If you guys are interested in the adapter, please send me an email. I can send some out for you. This goes in here, just like that. So now we have our adapter in here, and then our hose is just gonna plug into the bottom right here. And I just had to put the camera down for a second just to get it in. It is a little bit bigger of a fitting, so I wasn't able to do it with one hand, but you can see here it is nicely snapped in. So there you can see how it looks when it's installed. So we got the 3 lines. We have the 2 vacuum lines, the primary and secondary, and we have the dirty line coming out right there. We'll put on the blow-off valve in just a second, but first what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to put this back on. So we're just gonna get this over here and we're just gonna wiggle that into place. There we go, and it's lined up there. You can see there's a bolt holes, so it's lined right up. And now that it's lined up, we can put the blow-off valve in because it just makes it easier. So what this is just a one-way valve. No need to use a high volume valve here like the Elite ones. Just any valve will do because there should be no pressure in here whatsoever. It's just an emergency. It's just a just in case. That's all it is. It's just extra insurance, something I wanted to do. So this one I already tightened up. So now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put this on. It's just insurance. That's all it is. It's just easy insurance. So I'm just gonna screw this piece on. There we go, just like so. And then we can tighten it up with the Allen wrench. So there's what it looks like all installed. And you can see there I was able to tuck in the blow-off valve right there. There's our 3 lines. The drain on the bottom. Now that's a bone of contention. I didn't really wanna tie it anywhere because it's gonna get messy and I was afraid it was gonna keep dripping. So I can actually get my hand in there just like this. And because I have these quick connect fittings, I can just pop them off really easy. And then I have lots of room in there. So I can just get a little cup or something in there just to drain it. So that's probably what I'll do to drain it. Now let's go check out the mileage. Just gonna shut my light off there. We're gonna walk over to the car right now. So I ran the car 441 kilometers from brand new with nothing on it. I checked the blower cover, documented everything at 441. There we go, 942. So I put the catch can on at 441, ran at 500 kilometers. So that would take us to 942. And now I'm gonna run the Elite one 500 kilometers and we're gonna compare them. And we're gonna see if the Elite is any better than the original catch can that I actually had on it. So that's it for my video. If you're interested in any of these throttle body fittings, anything like that, go to my About page on my YouTube channel. Just shoot me an email. I'll get back to you. That's it for now. GarageKing over and out. Everyone have a good one.